We did the pen test with our incumbent penetration testers who took approximately 15 days, and we did the same thing with Aikido. It took 5.5 hours to complete, and it found approximately 30 different issues, 9 highs, whereas the human pen testers found, I think, 5 issues, one of them being high. I'm Aaron Singh. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer at Tyro Payments. That essentially means I'm responsible for maintaining and securing the private data of over 80,000 Australian merchants across Australia. We get a lot of sensitive data from the merchants, a lot of KYC information there as well. So protecting them is one of the core promises of the business, and that's one of the things that we make a guarantee and a promise to the merchants when they first sign on, that will keep them secure. Pre-Aikido, we had several different vulnerability management tools across different areas that were quite decentralized. Different teams really weren't looking at a lot of the findings. There was a significant percentage of false positives, and the security team especially was drowning in alerts. So initially we would triage everything manually and then assign it back to the different engineering teams to prioritize to get fixed. Unfortunately, giving them thousands of alerts to investigate and fix always meant that the work got deprioritized. And that just meant our backlog kept on growing and growing and growing. And it just became overwhelming. When we looked at a lot of the old previous vulnerability management tools, a lot of them assumed that if you're using a package and there's a CV attached to that package, you're vulnerable. We would get the developers to spend a significant amount of time to patch and remediate, and then go through testing, making code changes, then going back to review, testing again, and getting it out to production. Something that should typically take 10-15 minutes would take half a day, only for us to realize that the vulnerable function within the CVE we never actually used. So we weren't actually vulnerable. Whereas with Aikido, it actually looks at our source code, contextualizes the vulnerability, and lets us know whether or not the vulnerable function or that vulnerable code is actually in use. It does a really good job at giving us end-to-end visibility from direct dependencies all the way through to transitive dependencies that a lot of our other tools didn't give us. It also did a really good job at triaging and deduping and removing a lot of the false positives. So we went from tens of thousands of alerts at any given time to a few hundred. With Aikido, we took one of the main decision points away from engineers, where previously they would spend several hours trying to figure out how to fix it, and also try to figure out were there any code breaking changes, or if there was another vulnerability that this fix would also introduce. With Aikido, with the AutoFix capabilities, they click a button, they get the actual fix, review it, raise the PR, test it, and we're done. It really streamlined their workflows there for us. We compared Aikido to Sneak, to Checkmarx, and also to CrowdStrike's application security posture management. It always came out in front in terms of the way it presented the information, the way it reduced the false positives, and how it actually guided the engineers through to discovery, impact, to remediation. So it was actually a pretty easy choice at the end. Developers were progressing much more rapidly, and we weren't stopping them. Whereas previously would give them, hey, you have to stop what you're doing and fix these several hundred vulnerabilities, then come back, we'll retest, and then tell you if it's okay. And that stop-start workflow never worked for them. Their perception of security was quite negative previously, whereas now the relationship's actually quite excellent. They come to us when they find potential issues, or they hear about a vulnerability or a breach, and wanting to actually engage with the security team, wanting to learn, and wanting to see what Aikido can do for them even further. Supply chain security is definitely top of mind for us. It's something that we talk at the board on a regular basis. It's one of the core gaps that we've previously had. With Aikido, with its malware scanning and its threat intel as well, we get to actually pick up a lot of these findings early on, prevent it before it actually hits our production environments. It's actually been a really good eye-opener for us. There was a lot of packages that we were using that the team themselves didn't actually know that we were leveraging. So I think it was the Axios breach recently, where we went to the team, hey, do we use this? They said, no, we don't. We went into Aikido and found we were. So we presented that back to them. They were actually quite surprised. And then we had to go and validate what version we were using, were we compromised. Thankfully we weren't, but it was an eye-opener for everyone. We actually recently did a red teaming exercise for that exact scenario where a malicious ID extension published to VS Code Marketplace and actually stole the secrets on their device. We've got several layers of controls and protections, but this was a blind spot for us. And Aikido's endpoint protection will actually help solve that problem. We're actually looking at doing a pilot in the next few weeks. With AI pen testing, we actually did a proof of concept recently for a new health product that we were launching. We actually discovered a greater range of weaknesses that we could actually remediate and strengthen our code early on. So going forth, our plan is to do a bit of a hybrid model, AI penetration testing and AI code audit, but then get a human review there with our penetration testing partners. Costs are going to be quite significantly less than what we were previously paying. So we can actually do a lot more with what we have than we could previously.